Hey everyone, Tom here from Ludicrous Feed. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm here at Hyundai HQ here in Sydney, and I have been given a Hyundai Ioniq 5 Epiq variant for the next 6 days to review. So thank you very much to our friends at Hyundai for lending me this car. What a beautiful looking car indeed. Looking forward to testing out the real world range, of course, for this vehicle, and also the new features, which include an increased battery capacity from 72.6 kilowatt hours to 77.4 kilowatt hours for this Epiq variant. It's a dual motor powertrain, 239 kilowatts of power, or 605 Newton meters of torque when the two motors are combined. The Epiq model has a WLTP range of 454 kilometers, which is up from 430 kilometers from the previous highest range for this vehicle. And the Epiq also has a standard panoramic sunroof. And also, check this out, digital cameras now replace wing mirrors on the side for both passenger and driver side as well. So we're going to test that out, see how good that functions, of course. Let's have a look at the other side of the car, just to confirm that is also present on the other side. Show you the rear of this car. Nice looking vehicle, isn't it? Indeed. Show you, there we go. That is the driver's side cameras, side cameras there instead of wing mirrors. Looking forward to that, of course. The Ioniq 5 has an MSRP of $85,000 plus on-road costs. It's an EV, of course. It's an SUV. It's got 5 seats, dual motor for this variant, Epiq, and it's got an 8-year, 160,000 kilometer warranty with a guarantee of up to 70% of the original capacity of the battery. Dual motors, front motor is 74 kilowatts, rear is 165 kilowatts, and they're both 255 Newton meters and 350 Newton meters front and back respectively. AC charging 11 kilowatts, Type 2 plug, DC charging 240 kilowatts, and 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.1 seconds. There it is, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 Epiq variant 2023. Thank you again to Hyundai for loaning us this vehicle. Okay, so we are inside the cabin now. It's showing 100% battery capacity, 446 kilometers of range. And the odometer is 2,227 kilometers. We will track that every day, of course, to show you the real world range of this vehicle. Hopefully you can see the head-up display as well. You can just see it, I guess. Let me zoom in if I can show you guys. There it is. That's what it looks like. And of course, you're all waiting to see the digital side mirrors. There we go, video cameras there instead of wing mirrors. There it is on the driver's side. And of course, there it is on the passenger side as well. So I'll show you what they look like when we're driving and see whether they perform just as well as normal wing mirrors. And the other thing, improvement as well, is the panoramic sunroof, which is now standard across the Epiq range. So there we go. Ooh, don't miss this. There you go. Nice bifold opening there. Let's close that again. The glass roof does not open, I believe. There's no button to open that anyway. I'm pretty sure it's just one piece. So it's just the panoramic blinds. Let's close that again so you can see what it looks like. There we go. And one more time, why not? Because that looks so nice. Didn't want you to miss it the first time. There we are. Now, I've done a review of the Ioniq 5 before, but just a quick scan around so you don't forget what it looks like from the cockpit view. Door bins, buttons on the side, digital side mirrors, this lovely dash here, screen there, steering wheel, nice materials there, all sustainable apparently. Controls here, controls there. We've got drive mode. We've got the gear shifters down here. There we go, that's in focus now. And then you've got more buttons down here as well for boot opening and light adjustments, so forth. Air conditioning vent there. And of course built on the eGMP platform, which also does the Kia EV6 and Genesis GV60. So it's all very familiar. We've done a few reviews of these platforms. And air conditioning controls down here. Controls for the screen there as well. So it's a nice balance between screens and buttons for those who want that. We've got plenty of storage space in the eGMP platform, which is what I love. And you can also shuffle across here. You've got that extra flat floor down there. 12 volt, 180 watt plug, USB plug down here. That's what the pedals look like, performance pedals. Plenty of leg room, lovely lighting, we'll show you at night time hopefully. Glove box down here, oh, it's a drawer glove box. More lovely interior features there, nice solid finish, air conditioning vent, That's what the side looks like, the passenger side. More door bins down here. Cup holders here. Got more plugs there, USB-A. Qi charging, wireless down here. More storage again. This is what I like, this little cavity here. I can place my cameras as a YouTuber, or I guess takeaway. This little center console bit here, more storage. And let's see, buttons here to control the seats. I'm not sure if this has the massage function like the GV60. I don't think so. What I do like about the rear is that you've got these shades there, so privacy shades, and it's also sun shades built into the car. More controls, air conditioning vents. That's what the rear second row looks like there. Center pull down, let's have a look. That's what it looks like there. There we go, more cup holders. And of course, down here, plenty of leg room. Again, flat floor second row, I love that. That's what you need for EVs, personally. And also interior V2L as well. If I can work out how to open it. Oh, it's locked. Okay, so I need to open that up. So 1 second, everyone. Okay, so I've unlocked it. There you go, max AC 2, 50 volts, 16 amps. There you go, standard 3-point plug there. Fantastic. Done tests on those, of course, before in previous videos. Got storage there as well, and door bins back here. There you go, and more buttons here. Like I said, this privacy shield is quite good. Good for privacy and sunshade in the back. And the door handles pop out like this, so you can open it like that. It's quite nice. Love this color too. There's the charge port there. Okay, let's have a quick look at the boot. There you go, opens up. Got this little shade here to cover that. Again, a bit of a privacy shield. Parcel shelf, I guess, a little bit flimsy, but does the job, I guess. Second row can lean back as well. You can see that bit of a gap there, so if you wanted to recline for the second row, it can. 60-40 split. Storage down here below as well. Tire mobility kit. No spare tire like a lot of cars these days. And you can access the charge port from here as well. Emergency open. And another 12-volt plug there, which is very handy. And to shut it, there it is there. Button to push. Okay, so there it is, the boot storage space of the Ioniq 5. Alright, quick look at the frunk or front boot. Pop that open. Let's walk around. Okay, as usual, a bit of a latch. Okay, the frunk is not very big in these EGMP cars. There you've got the V2L kit and also a 10 amp charger as well. That's included. Okay, to shut it, hydraulic, and it closes there quite firmly. A bit of a close-up of the digital cameras there on the side of the car. There you go. Quite futuristic looking. Very low profile too. Okay, so let's lock the car and see what the mirrors do. Locking. There you go, folds in like that. A bit more low profile, that's nice. And then unlock again. Alright, there it is. So that's one advantage of the video mirrors. They take up less room on the side when they're folding especially. Makes it even more low profile for the car. Let's try it from this angle here so you can see. Okay. Very nice. Okay, let's have a look at the charge port. Hold this button here. Okay, so the AC portion is exposed. And then pull down for the DC portion there. There you go. So AC, DC. Very good. We shut it. We just push this button here to close. That's the state of charge there in graphic form. Okay, cool. So check this out. You can control the seats in the back from these buttons here. So if I push that, see how the back seats move forward? You can do the same for the right hand side as well with that button. And you can move them back as well. You want them closer to you, you want them further away. That is nifty. Alright, and check this out. You can actually have Apple Carplay as well for Ioniq 5. Apple Carplay. There's my phone plugged in down below there to the USB port. There we go. And Apple CarPlay. Let's press that. There we are. They are my apps right there. Let's go to Waze. Okay, so there we go, and look at that, I can actually move the screen. I know with the BYD Atto 3, when I reviewed that with Waze, you couldn't actually move the screen with your finger, but with the Ioniq 5 you can. Morning everyone, welcome to day 2 of our Hyundai Ioniq 5 loan, and today we are doing a highway range test at 100 kilometers an hour. We're going to head out to Sydney Motorsport Park, which is about 40 odd kilometers away, so the return journey will be 80 kilometers. We're heading out there because we are visiting the NRMA EV Drive Day out in Western Sydney, and make sure you watch out for that video as well. I'll be doing a full walk around of the site. Should be fun. And this morning we're just going to do a little bit of a handling test down to the motorway, and then on the motorway, like I said, a 100 kilometer an hour range test. And of course, this is a mini range test on top of our big range test, the mixed urban use range test, to see how much range the car has for daily driving versus how much it has for highway driving. And the few things I've noticed so far about this vehicle as we drive down into the Lanco River here is that, a couple of nifty features. The volume of the stereo system will decrease when you're stopped at the traffic light, which is quite nice. We're using the navigation system currently, which is projected onto the head-up display on the windshield there, which is quite good as well. Yeah, and of course you can also change your regen brake settings using these pedal shifters here. So I'm going to go to all the way up to iPedal, which is basically one pedal driving. And then you can change your mode down here from drive mode to sport mode, which is what I'm going to do now for the handling test. I've been mainly driving on normal mode, which is what this range test will be, on normal mode, but just for this handling bit I'll do sport mode. I've had the AC on basically the whole time, so they are the conditions we are doing today and for the entire week for our range test. So with the sport mode, obviously the steering is a bit more responsive and acceleration is a bit stronger as well. iPedal is the same, remains the same. And I've also got Apple Carplay plugged in as well via my phone device. The USB port is down there for data. And once I get on the motorway, I'll switch it over to Waze because I like to see what's going on. Waze is a nice user-populated platform. The navigation doesn't look too bad here on the screen, but doesn't give you, I guess, live traffic stuff like potholes, police on the road, cars stopped, all those kind of things, speed cameras, which is why I like to use Waze. So yeah, abiding by the speed limit and local traffic conditions. The handling test wasn't too bad. Can't go too hard on these roads, obviously, on public roads. Pretty happy. Haven't really come across an EV that's terrible for handling just yet. So I think most modern cars do pretty well on city driving. Okay, so when we reach the motorway, we will switch over back to normal mode, and then I'll tell you what the current state of charge is and the odometer, and then we'll update on the freeway. Okay, so we're at the mouth of the motorway, 81% state of charge, and 2,302 kilometers. You saw the blind spot monitor go up there when I turn right. Let's go to 100 kilometers an hour now. There we go. And let's set cruise control, which are these buttons down here. I've got lane centering and cruise function as well, and we'll just press this button here to activate. There we go. iPedal goes off when you're on cruise. No automatic lane change that I'm aware of, so you've just got to basically indicate and move across. And you can actually accelerate like this, and then the smart cruise control will pick up the new speed. Well, it should. It did before, but you can also increase it like that. Oh, okay, there we go. You press it once to match the current speed. There we go. That's what I thought it was. And then you flick up like that to go up by 1 kilometer an hour, or you can hold the button there, and then that goes up there by 10 kilometers an hour, which is quite a handy feature. And then you can go down, of course, if you want, like that. That drops it down by 10, up by 10. That's the lane centering there, that steering wheel icon. That essentially is kind of like that autopilot function that Tesla has. We'll see what it's like today. And then this function here is distance between you and the car ahead. And I like the graphic on the screen there. I'm not sure whether you can see, but unlike other vehicles I've tested where I'm not sure whether I'm getting closer or further away, this is quite clear that I'm getting closer to the vehicle ahead. So I prefer this graphic here on the screen. And yeah, of course, hands on the wheel, eyes on the road, not autonomous by any means. And yeah, so we will drive out to Sydney Motorsport Park. Like I said, it's about 40 kilometers away, so 80 kilometer return journey. Should be a nice little highway range test. And as I said before, I like having Waze on the screen, and I'll show you what it looks like here. So if I go back to the home screen there, press Apple Carplay, which is connected to my phone, of course. One more time. One more time. There we go. That's just me, rather than being not responsive on the screen. And then if I flick to Waze there, which is already up, there we go. And then I quite like having that on the screen when I'm driving on the motorway. Unless, of course, I'm looking for a charge station, then the Hyundai's got a built-in charge station navigation, which I'll show you now. So if I go back to there and press the Hyundai icon, go back to navigation menu. Okay. Right, so you can also do this. So go back there, go to map. There we go. Let me just cut back in this lane here, so the car behind me can zip off. Seemed to be a bit of a hurry. So yes, if you flick that, there you go. So detailed turn-by-turn instructions. That's pretty cool. If I go home there, so back to the nav there, you can actually look for charge stations. If I press search, so EV charging stations there. All right, so here I am on the motorway, enjoying cruise control, and I'll see you all very shortly at Sydney Motorsport Park to give you an update, and then also on the return journey. See you real soon.
On for 11 minutes to A44 Great Western Highway to Eastern Creek, St. Mary's.
Okay, so that's an idea of the Waze navigation voice. Now that we're on a bit of a smoother road, I'll just give you a taste of what it's like with the road noise. It's fairly well insulated, and the suspension is quite good. It's not too firm, not too bouncy. It's actually quite a nice balance, I must say. Probably a bit firmer than the BYD Atto 3. That was a little bit buoyant on the highway, and probably not as harsh as, say, the Model Y or Model 3 on the highway. It's actually quite a nice balance. Just a comment about also the camera mirrors here. It does take a little bit of adjusting. It's exactly the same as pretty much the GV60, which has the digital side mirrors because it's the same platform, right? It's the GMP platform. I would normally look a bit more outwards, obviously, because the mirrors are right there. I would look out of the window. So I've done that a couple of times now, just out of habit. I've looked out there, obviously having nothing there, you've got to look further down into the screen here. And I've had to change my focal length. Maybe I'm just getting old, but you know, you look out there, but then you want to look back down here and like, oh, actually, it's actually closer to you than you think. So you just got to adjust your habits a bit if you want to buy this car with the video camera mirrors. And a comment previously about the GV60 was that if you tilt the cameras, which you can with the controls here, see that when you tilt it, you're not actually tilting the cameras up and down as such because it's fixed, right? It's actually just a picture that's that big, and then the up and down controls are just sort of floating between that dimension or that plane rather than actually tilting down onto the road there. Just an observation. And you can do the same thing with the left side as well. I'll just keep quite a bit longer for the road noise for you. It's quite a nice drive, I must say. And see, like I said on Waze, you can see all the police around as well, if you're that kind of person that likes the speed. Not that I recommend it, but you know, the police you can see them on the screen because people populate them on the platform. Just a bit of a comment also on, as I just indicated, the right to overtake these cars. What you can see on the screen here is actually quite handy. There's so much information, but this is the fourth or fifth time I've actually had a loan of a GMP car. But it's really quite useful if you once you get the hang of it. The basic screen here is, you've got odometer on the corner here, you've got the projected distance remaining in terms of range, you've got your speedometer on the left, and you've got the current state of charge down here, 75%, a graphic indication of that. You've got auto hold, ready to go. If you're on cruise control, you won't see the iPedal or the regen levels there, obviously. So I cut back in. Then you've got the efficiency down here in the bottom there in real time, and also the sort of average as well. Just wait for the car next to me to go. So 19.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's kind of an average for this drive. And then the real time is that sliding blue bar down there. Temperature, speedometer up there again, cruise control. Sorry, I cut back in. People cutting in and out, including myself. Gear shifter, posted speed sign. Obviously, there are cameras picking that up. Distance follow, attention level. Now, all this stuff here, and by the way, one more thing down here is the power and the regen braking setting, or the real time sort of what's happening. So obviously, if it's going up towards power, then you're using battery power. And then if it's going down here in this area, then it's going into regen territory, which is, for those who don't know, regen braking or regenerative braking is the ability for the car to capture energy back into the battery if you're slowing down, and that helps to brake the car as well, helps to slow the car down. Quite a nifty feature of EVs. Now this center bit here is where you can play with all the menus as you're driving. So you've got the drive information there. See, the current drive is 16.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers for my current drive. I've been driving for 42 minutes and I've driven 39.3 kilometers. I'm not sure what that average is then in that case. Maybe it's for the life of the car, or I don't know, but it's much higher than the efficiency stated there for this current drive anyway. And then if you keep cycling like that, you can see after recharging, so my last recharge, oh there we go, it's information from the last recharge. That correlates to the 18.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. We've been driving 100 kilometers since the last recharge, so that's a nice little information for the range test as well. See whether that correlates with the odometer. Accumulated info, so the last trip computer was there, 748 kilometers. Could have used that, I guess, for our range test, but again, we can use the last recharge for this range test overall for this week. And then back to this drive information. And then we can cycle to the next one, which is the compass. Yep. And then tire pressures, and then that's quite good too. So there's graphic information on the battery supplying which motors. So this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, so dual motors. At the moment, because we're just cruising on the freeway, it's just giving power to the rear. So it's a rear differential favored. If you're just cruising, then it goes to the rear motors. Obviously, if you need that extra power like this, see that? I don't know whether you can see it on the camera, but suddenly all four wheels are getting power, and it's supplying power to the front motors and the rear motors. That's quite a nice graphic there. Hopefully you saw that. And then you can cycle, tire pressure, we've done that, and then you can cycle to attention level. And my attention level apparently is quite high at the moment. I guess this is probably a fixed projection. If I drive a bit longer, I guess that will probably go down. Last break was 44 minutes. And then this is, I guess, where the leading car is compared to my vehicle. And then you can set how far away you want to keep the distance on cruise, like that. Yep, attention level, and then drive information. So that's it. They're the menus for the Ioniq 5 as you're driving. All right, so a bit of a nag there for keeping my hands on the steering wheel, a bit like the Tesla autopilot. We've just got to wiggle the wheel just a bit, just to let the car know that you are still driving. Okay, we're about to exit onto the Great Western Highway, onto the surface roads. So that pretty much ends leg one of this highway range test. I've been driving pretty much at 100 kilometers an hour the whole time. Maybe briefly at 80 kilometers an hour for like a couple of minutes when there was a bit of road work. Probably wavering between 95 to 100. So I think that's pretty good for a highway range test for that first leg. And currently 73% state of charge and 2339 kilometers on the odometer. Okay, so I will touch base with you guys on the return journey for the second leg. See you soon.
Turn left onto A44 Great Western Highway. Keep right. Then turn right onto M7 West Link to Richmond, Newcastle.
Alright everyone, we've finished our day at the NRMA EV Drive Day, so make sure you check out the video like I said. And we're going to head back on the motorway to start leg number 2 of our highway range test. It's currently 71% state of charge, 2,348 kilometers on the odometer. So there we go, back on the motorway. And of course we'll try to drive as much as we can on 100 kilometers an hour to get that true highway range test. And just watch the acceleration here. That's what's handy about EVs. Get up to speed pretty quickly. Let's pedal shift up to iPedal, not that it really matters too much on the freeway. And let's merge with the blind spot cameras and also the side camera wing mirrors as well. Okay, I'll touch base again. Well, let me just get up to 100 kilometers an hour to prove that we are going that quickly. And let's put cruise on, put lane centering on, and then boom, 100 kph. And then back in the left lane, so we don't get accused of hogging the right lane. Okay, everyone, we'll touch base when we finish the motorway at the exit. Okay, so everyone, we're exiting the motorway now. Basically exactly the same spot that we entered the motorway at this morning, so I think that's a pretty fair test. State of charge is now 63% and 2,385 kilometers. So there we go. Cruise control off. There we go. That is the highway range test part of this video done, and I'll put the stats up on the screen very shortly. Okay, let's do some comparisons between the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and Tesla Model 3 and Model Y. These specs have been obtained from EV Database, which I deem as quite a reliable source. So battery size of Ioniq is 74 kilowatt hours versus Model 3Y, which is 57.5 kilowatt hours. These are all usable specs. And these are comparing the base variant for Ioniq, which is the dynamic, versus Model 3Y rear-wheel drive variant. Real range 390 kilometers Ioniq versus Model Y 345 kilometers versus Model 3 380 kilometers. Efficiency of the Ioniq is 190 watt hours per kilometer versus Model Y 167 watt hours per kilometer and Model 3 151 watt hours per kilometer. Stressing again, these are the base variants for each make. The price, which is the MSRP, Ioniq Dynamic is $72,000 versus Model Y rear-wheel drive $68,900 and Model 3 rear-wheel drive $63,900. Prices are in Australian dollars, correct to February 2023. The Technique, which is the next step up for the Ioniq 5, is $79,500, and the Epiq, which is this vehicle here we've got on loan, is $85,000. And of course, that's before state-by-state incentives for Australia. Okay, so comparing powertrains, Ioniq is 168 kilowatts versus Model Y 220 kilowatts, Model 3 208 kilowatts, and of course all basic variants are rear-wheel drive as well. Acceleration of the Ioniq is 7.3 seconds for 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, Model Y is 6.9 seconds, and Model 3 is 6.1 seconds. Charging is 11 kilowatts, AC for all cars, Ioniq and Teslas. The DC charging speed for the Ioniq is 233 kilowatts, making use of that 800 volt architecture. Model 3 Model Y tops out at 170 kilowatts DC. So compared to the Ioniq, Model Y is 2% longer, almost the same width, height and weight. Model Y also apparently has 60% more boot and trunk space than the Ioniq. Compared to the Ioniq, Model 3 is 1% longer, 3% narrower, 10% lower, 10% lighter in weight, and has a 4% shorter wheelbase. Model 3 has a 6% bigger boot. Okay, so we can confidently say that the Hyundai Ioniq 5 Epiq Edition can do 400 kilometers on one charge. There we go, 400.9 kilometers after recharging, 2% state of charge remaining. Odometer is 2,627 kilometers. Now you might be wondering why the actual range is so different from the projected range on the highway. And I have to agree with you, this is very unusual. Most of the EVs I've tested actually have a worse range on the highway traveling at 100 kilometers an hour compared to a mixed daily urban use like we've been doing for this week with the Hyundai Ioniq 5. And I guess the only explanation I can come up with is that it's been quite a warm week here in Sydney that I've had this car. And I'll be honest, because it's been so hot this week, the times I've had to wait in the car stationary, I've had the air conditioning running, and that could have possibly run the battery down, hence affecting the range of the vehicle. Okay, so I'm going to recharge the Ioniq 5, but before I do, here's a good opportunity to see whether the ecoflow Max portable battery can charge an electric vehicle such as the Ioniq 5. I've been sent this product, I didn't buy it, so thank you ecoflow, and they've also given me a grounding adapter as well to make sure it can charge an electric vehicle. There's the grounding adapter there, and yeah, we'll see whether a 1.6 kilowatt hour battery such as this can give us some extra range on the vehicle. So keeping in mind we're at 2% state of charge right there, 2%, and the projected range is 9 kilometers. So we'll see how much the range increases when we plug in the ecoflow Delta battery. Okay, so I've plugged in the Ioniq portable charger into the 10 amp socket for the battery. There it is there. And it's all good, it's showing green. Power is good to go. And 6, not sure what that means, we'll find out. And then there's the plug there. Alright, so that's a type 2 plug. Alright, let's plug it into the vehicle. So press hold there. Okay, charge flap goes up. Very low state of charge obviously, 1 bar left. Alright, so let's plug into the vehicle. Here we go. Alright, heard a click. Car's whirring.
Start charging.
Okay, that's a good sign. This is flashing. Let's have a look at the battery. So the ecoflow's got an app as well. Alright, so it's drawing 1.2 kilowatts. Okay, and that seems to correlate with the app. Pretty similar figures. And there's the graph as well to show how much power it's drawing from the battery. Okay, so it's saying we've got 1 hour 15 minutes if we go at this rate. You can see the portable battery state of charge running down as well. Okay, so we'll check back in a second. Seems to be going pretty well for now. And we'll see how much charge the car can get. And by the way, the car is completely off, so nothing else is running, no other processes are running. It's just charging away using the portable battery. Alright, let's touch base in about an hour's time. Okay, so there we go. It's charging away on the power pack for the car. And now the battery's fan is whirring away as well. So keeping cool. 1.6 kilowatt hour capacity. And it is NMC battery chemistry. And yes, the Ioniq 5 is indeed showing that it is charging. 2% state of charge currently, charging at 1.2 kilowatts. Obviously that's going to be very slow, but this is a nice backup option for those who need that extra bit of range before they go to a charging station. So we'll see whether this number goes up in an hour's time. 9 kilometers left in range. Okay, so update, and it looks like the battery is completely dead, 0%. That's good. The car has definitely stopped charging. Let's go down to there, that's the charging box, that's gone, nothing there. And same with the charge port. See how there's nothing flashing anymore, so it stopped charging. Let's go inside to have a look at the car. Alright, so here we go, it's now 7:08 p.m. I think the battery stopped charging a little while ago. I was just doing something else in the meantime. So about an hour or so, that's how long it took for the battery to charge. It added 1% of battery, and it was at 9 kilometers, wasn't it? So it actually gave me 6 kilometers of range for this Delta Flow 1.6 kilowatt hour capacity. The Delta Flow range also includes bigger capacity batteries as well. So There you go, 1.6 kilowatt hours gave me 6. I'm sure the bigger batteries can give you more range as well, but obviously adds weight to the battery. And I can confirm that the Ioniq can definitely charge from a Gen 3 Tesla wall connector. There it is running from my wall connector there. And there it is plugged in, charging away. Flashing means charging. And check this out, it's getting the full 11 kilowatt 3-phase charging from the wall connector, which is great. 7 hours remaining for 100%. Now in the EV charging settings, you can also determine how much you want to charge your vehicle from 50%, 60, 70, 80, 90 to 100%. And I will go to 50% for now. But that's all I need this week to return the car to Hyundai. You can also alter the charge current, maximum, reduced, minimum. Minimum, reduced, maximum. Okay, so just returning the Ioniq 5 now to back to Hyundai, and we're actually going to charge the car as well at the same time, and that way I can return it while it's still charging. As you can see, there is a DC fast charger here, so let's plug into the car first. Hopefully this reaches round. Yes, it does. Excellent. Okay, we're plugged in. Limited at 80%, that's okay. We'll press start anyway. Okay, so that's all right. It is going, so that's great. All right, I might hop back inside the car, and then we can discuss a few things about the Hyundai Ioniq 5 before we return it. Let's pop the AC on. Okay, so again, many thanks to Hyundai Australia for loaning me this Ioniq 5 Epiq variant for the week. It's been an enjoyable drive, and just a reminder that I don't get paid by Hyundai. I've got no financial affiliation with them. It's purely just a free loan for me to review the car, and I'm very grateful for that. But before we return the car, just wanted to give my final thoughts about this vehicle. Every time I borrow a car from a company like Hyundai, I always pitted against the benchmark, which I think currently in 2023 is still the Tesla Model Y and Tesla Model 3. And I always ask myself, are there any features that could potentially persuade me to purchase this car over, say, a Tesla Model 3 or Model Y? And when I look through my notes, I can see that the Hyundai Ioniq 5 actually does not perform as well as the Model 3 or Model Y in pretty much every category, except for perhaps charging speed, where the base model for the Ioniq 5 can go up to 233 kilowatts, thanks to the 800 volt architecture, whereas for the base variants for Model 3 Model Y, they only peak at 170 kilowatts DC. And the other aspect of the Ioniq 5 that it has over the Model 3 Model Y is that the battery pack is 74 kilowatt hours, which is bigger than the base Model 3 Y variant, which is 57.5 kilowatt hours. That means it's got a bigger range, but unfortunately the efficiency is still not as good as the Model 3 Model Y. It's actually more expensive than the base Model 3 Model Y, and also slower from a standing start, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, compared to the Model 3 Model Y. So I guess it all boils down to subjectivity, and it depends on what kind of vehicle you actually want to purchase. So obviously with a Tesla, it's the interior is far more basic, more minimalistic. If you like, I guess, a more overt or more obvious finish like the Ioniq 5 does, with the trims, with these buttons here, with more buttons on the steering wheel, and if you want the ability to option up like these side cameras, if you want more storage space like down here, and other nice features like a V2L internal, like that, vehicle to load. If you want the option of having a sunroof up here, nice interior lighting, those kind of things, then the Ioniq 5 might be for you. And I guess if you really, really don't want a Tesla for whatever reason, ethical, moral, philosophical, then the Hyundai Ioniq 5 really is quite a nice alternative from that point of view. What the Tesla has over the Hyundai Ioniq 5 is, of course, the supercharger network, which I realize that there are some sites now available to all non-Tesla EVs as well, but for the time being, the majority of superchargers are still available to Teslas only, and that does make for an easier road trip overall. I find that the Tesla app is quite easy to use. You can book a service through the app. I also find the Model 3 Model Y software easy to use in general compared to the Ioniq 5s. However, the one thing the Ioniq 5 does have over the Tesla is, of course, phone projection with Apple Carplay and Android. So if you really can't live without Android Auto or Apple Carplay, then perhaps an Ioniq 5 might be better for you. You don't get those features in a Tesla Model 3 or Model Y. But look, I think overall the Ioniq 5 is still a very good vehicle, and I think one of the best EVs out there on the market at the moment for this price range. And Again, many thanks to Hyundai for loaning me this vehicle for the week. There it is, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 Epiq variant here in Sydney, Australia at Hyundai HQ. Alright everyone, thanks so much for watching, and until the next Ludicrous Feed video, happy charging.